Hello and good morning. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and we have an outstanding show for you today. To start your holiday weekend, obviously Memorial Day is going to be on Monday. And listen, a lot of people are already off, which is great if you are celebrating already. I will say this as former Popo, please, because in some places it's the evening. Be responsible. Don't drink and drive. I know people are going to boo me. The virtual tomatoes are coming out, but I got to say it because you know what? Well, when you do the job for 21 years, you just never really get it out of your system. And I will say this on the back end when we're closing out the show at the end. And real quick, the show is going to be a pinch under 2 hours, not very by much, because I am picking up my nephew Tyler to hang out with us for the whole weekend. So I got to bounce out by 12. But before we get to that, well, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. We have outstanding topics. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the official name. We have a developer over at Treyarch talking about it publicly, basically saying that gamers, meaning you, me, and the rest of the room, aren't ready for this game. Tom Henderson is reporting that this game was playable already for 2 years. Obviously we're going to get into the fact that the game has been in development for over 4 years. It's the longest Call of Duty developed game ever, and that is saying a lot. And of course, well, Ninja Theory, who are in my opinion, the heroes of gaming, they have delivered in a way with Hellblade 2 that I don't think any of us could have expected how good it was. But on top of that them releasing that this week and celebrating some incredibly high praise, we also have confirmation from numerous people in the industry that their next game has been greenlit. So we're going to get into what we hope that is, because it's not Hellblade 3, and we already know that they are full steam ahead on Project Mara. So this is something new, and they have a pretty incredible resume when it comes to the action-adventure genre with stuff that they did for PlayStation 3 as a launch title. They also did a few games for the Xbox 360 that are really good. We'll get into all of that. And of course, closing out, we're going to have a fun one. And this is where I'm going to get the chat involved. The way we're going to break this last topic down is going to be our hopes, our dreams, and our wants for the Xbox Showcase. And the reason why I decided to do this is because Jez Corden of Windows Central, great friend of the community, did a hopes and dreams and wants article, which I read. It was phenomenal. I will add that to the show notes. So if you want to read it, you can check out his predictions of what he is hoping is going to be there. And like I said, I love Jez Corden. I'm going to get a chance to meet him. I think he's going to LA in June, which is going to be dope because I met him in 2019. I cannot wait to meet him again. But listen, let's get into the introductions and why I want to do that immediately, because we have someone new joining not joining the panel, but he is definitely a guest here today. Elijah, who normally works with Korkenstein. Elijah, first time on the program. You and I have been talking in the background. You wanted to be a part of the show. Well, here you are. Welcome, kind sir. How you feeling?
Great, Boom. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to have you, and I cannot wait to get your hot takes on some of the topics that we're going to break down. And Korkenstein, who has become a full-time channel member, panel member, I should say. Korkenstein, welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Hey, doing good, Boom. Thank you so much, Elijah. Welcome, man. It's so good to have you on and stuff like that. So yeah, welcome.
Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate you being a part of not only today's show, but every show moving forward. And again, obviously, the point of that is to help you grow your channel. You have a lot of great content. We will close out the show with where they can find and subscribe to that content. And last and no way least, the best bald head in the business, Fuzzy Belvedere. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Glad to be here with everyone. Glad we got Korkenstein as a panel member, and welcome aboard, Elijah. Can't wait to hear your takes on things, but it's been a pretty good week. What do you call it? Hellblade 2 launched this week. Been having fun with it. And I'm pretty sure we'll get into some talks on that as well. But yeah, Black Ops 6, it's the advertising can't say that they don't advertise at this point. That advertising is definitely ramping up. So can't wait to see that in the June showcase. But let's get this started.
Well, you know what, folks? Let's jump right into Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Obviously, that is the official name. I personally, I like the Gulf War tagline better than just a six thrown in there, but it's fine. Uh, like Fuzzy just mentioned moments ago, the marketing has been on another level. It's Call of Duty, folks. I have a strong suspicion. I've talked about this during the week that it is going to be next gen only. In that conversation, I had proudly mentioned that it is coming into Game Pass. That is something as a consumer that I'm very excited for. I'm not, again, I don't get a dime from Microsoft, but I do reap the rewards of Game Pass. And this game going to Game Pass is going to be a big deal. But on the back end business conversation, Fuzzy Belvedere, we have a couple of quotes here from people attached to the project. Nico from Treyarch. Now, who is Nico from Treyarch? Well, apparently Nico is a game designer on Treyarch Zombies. According to Nico, well, they said this: I've been playtesting this one for 2 years, and y'all aren't ready. Hashtag Black Ops 6. Now, yeah, simplistic in its manner for sure, but I think it does carry a significant amount of weight because, well, the game, Nico has been playing it for 2 years. This is the longest developed Call of Duty ever. It is, I believe, to be next gen only. I think what that's going to do is move a lot of people over to new consoles. I think, honestly, when you look at the report from last week, where it was confirmed that more than 50% of current PlayStation users are on PS4s. Now, this is going to translate sales. Question is to what? Is it going to be PS5 at $500 and a 7643 game? Or is it potentially going to be a $200 Series S? And of course, 1 month of Game Pass, which gives you Call of Duty. Now, why this is important, Fuzzy, is simply because why did the PS4 win the generation out the gate? Price. It was $100. It wasn't peace. Don't get it twisted. 980p or 1080p makes you a better gamer. Yeah, they did some marketing that really ramped it up. This is how you share games. Again, Sony's just they're the masters of marketing. You cannot argue how good they are when it comes to marketing their stuff. But price was at the core of why people switched from Xbox 360 to the PS4 and skipped the Xbox One. And that $100 difference made people say, I'm going to go with PS4. And they went and they stayed and they've been there ever since. More than 50% of PlayStation players are still there. Now you talk about 2024. The market as a whole is just awful. Everything is expensive. And we're coming into a holiday season that might actually see less spending because no one wants to admit that we are in a recession. So if you are one of these casual gamers, Fuzzy, and you see that Call of Duty is going into Xbox Game Pass, and again, this is a hypothetical, Microsoft drops the price of the Series S for $200, includes a 30-day Game Pass, which is going to give you Call of Duty out of the gate, like a pack-in for $200. And they look over at Sony. Even if Sony drops the digital version to $399, that's still a $200 plus Call of Duty investment that casual gamer A, B, and C are probably not going to be cool with because they're casual gamers. And it's the holidays, and money is a lot tighter than it used to be. Let's talk about both scenarios. One, what Nico had to say about we're not ready for it, your anticipation on how good this game is going to look, and the potential of moving people over to Xbox?
Well, as far as what Nico said, I know a lot of people may crap on like Modern Warfare 3 and to some extent maybe parts of Modern Warfare 2, but Modern Warfare 2 had a longer development cycle as well. 3 was a lot shorter, but for the fact that it was shorter and it was as polished, although be it that the campaign was a good bit shorter, um, that goes to show that those teams are ramping things up to for the most part. And if this has been kind of in the tuck and been worked on and iterated and reiterated on again, then that's given them plenty of time to polish. That's given them plenty of time to get feedback from the community as far as for like some of the mechanics and things along those lines. So I think they've had ample time to kind of make this Call of Duty I wouldn't say necessarily a special one, but one that is going to resonate with the fans overall, whether it be the campaign itself or the multiplayer. They're definitely going to make sure that this one lands like it should. And Modern Warfare 3 was, I think, originally supposed to be like a DLC that they kind of expanded on, and that helped end that contract or the obligations to PlayStation's marketing contract and stuff like that. So they with marketing ramping up the way it is, I think they're excited for what they have in hand. And if he's already been playing and playtesting it and things like that, I think they're probably happy where it's at this point, and just a matter of getting the T's crossed and I's dotted as far as all the polishing on the back end of things to make sure that this thing doesn't have to have a massive day one patch or that it's going to have any issues across like the servers and things like that. And that's going to be probably the biggest thing on launch day. But as far as like the fan base, that with half the PlayStation player base still being on PS4s, and I would say to some extent probably a decent chunk of Xbox players still being on the Xbox One, because the cloud stuff kind of helps them not necessarily need to upgrade. I think this puts a bit of a crossroad for a lot of the PS4 players, because they don't have that cloud option per se, unless they join Game Pass and do it via like a mobile browser or like through their phone or on a PC or something to that effect. But considering that there's probably going to be bundles, considering that they will probably have special offers or pack-ins of this game, or deals on Game Pass towards the later part of this year like they usually do, I would say this would be, if any time, a great time for those that are still on previous gen to step up. So that way they don't have to necessarily fight with the inventory constraints that might pop up when GTA 6 comes about. Like if you're looking to upgrade to next gen and you're waiting for GTA 6, just be mindful. There's a lot of people that are still doing that same thing. So the matter of the fact would be that, the console of choice or any console at that matter might not be as readily available when GTA 6 launches. But considering if this is like a full-on next gen title, this will give you that head start. And considering that there's plenty of stock of pretty much all the consoles, but you'll probably get a much better deal, especially with a Series S or even with a Series X at this point. I would say that's the best way to go. About the only other console, and I'm still thinking it might not land or might not get launched, although I know a lot of people say differently, would be the PS5 Pro, which would be, that would be about the only other place that I could see some of the old PS4 players upgrading to. But at this point, you have a $600 option that may play it better, possibly, or you have like a $400 option with all the sales that we saw last year, probably even a $350 option with the Series X.
Yep.
And then with with the Series S, I think they went as low as like 159 or something like that, or maybe even lower than that in some cases. But I would say that, like you said earlier, the previous gen was won by pricing. The pricing on this holiday with that big, title coming out as far as Black Ops 6, it definitely will help, Xbox gain some momentum or gain traction in the console market space, or market share, I should say. And then considering how many people will probably sign up for Game Pass, considering that all the other Call of Duties, like if you're a Call of Duty stan, you're probably, even if you have your collection of Call of Duty on another platform, for the price of a monthly fee, you have access to all of that on that new platform that you're probably buying it for at cheaper and getting the newest game included with that purchase type of thing. So Yeah, I think they definitely will have a compelling argument for anybody that's kind of on the fence come this holiday. Considering the economy being what it is, if something like that is on their Christmas wish list, what better way to spend under $200, have a month of Game Pass, possibly have a pack in of Call of Duty, have your Series S, and possibly access to all the other Call of Duties that'll be in Game Pass as well. I think that would be like a no-brainer at that point.
It is going to be a conversation. Let's just say that. Korkenstein, I want to bring you into the conversation. Now, I have the Black Ops article from Insider Gaming. It was written by Grant Taylor Hill. I want to kind of just read the two for opening paragraphs because it does really put some context to what we're talking about. It says Activision has finally lifted the lid on Black Ops 6 earlier today, revealing key art and that the title for the game. It came following months of speculation about Call of Duty 2024, and while we don't know much about the game, a few details have been made clear since the teaser snippets started dropping online. Recently, an employee at Treyarch revealed on social media claiming that they've been playtesting Black Ops 6 for 2 years, stressing that we're not ready for this game. While we knew while we knew that Black Ops 6 has benefited from a lengthier development cycle than normal, knowing that it has been playable for some time or to some extent for 2+ years is really something. Now, obviously, having all of this extra development time, it's a big deal. If there is one thing I think anyone will admit is back in the days, Infinity Ward used to be the head dude in the room. That has shifted since Black Ops 1. I would dare say, and I'm not taking anything away from the folks, the fine folks at Infinity Ward. What I'm saying, at least for me as a gamer, Treyarch is my go-to developer. Given that they had extra time to really polish this game, and the fact that this game has been in playable format in one way or another for over 2 years, using the new console's power to its maximum potential, says that we are going to be in for something special. What are your thoughts on what the developer had to say? And do you think, to Fuzzy's point of view, seeing a splash screen with every Call of Duty from inception to current in Game Pass for $16.99, will it move people back to Xbox? Oh, you're on mute, brother.
Sorry. Yeah, to tackle the first part, I would say yeah. I'm actually surprised they even posted something. Usually, I mean, right now he's setting a level of expectation now that marketing didn't set, So how much is, how much damage on the reverse side could that do? But I think, this is something probably that they're pushing their marketing kind of under the, on the DL kind of thing to get the hype out there. I think it's going to be pretty crazy on what we're going to see, because extra development time is crucial. Even 3 months can make a difference on a feature getting cut or
Yep.
or going through. When I was working on the Lord of the Rings RTS, we actually had like an ability of I can't believe I forgot his name. It's been so long. Where the elf he would be able to jump up onto, as one of the character heroes, would be able to jump up onto the elephant and slide down shooting arrows at it. That was an ability. But because of time constraints, we had to cut it. But things like that, where you can see these little minor things go in, extra development time is crucial. As far as going out, also to actually go on to that too, playtesting too, people might not know what that is. It sounds simple enough. Oh yeah, I'm playtesting, but it's not actually play testing in that sense. It's going to be a bunch of guys that are going to be pink textures because they either aren't associated with it, or don't have the art asset on the actual character. It's going to be a bunch of guys, going around in T poses, everywhere, things. So yeah, they've been play testing it, but it's not in the mindset or the thought that most people will think it is, that it's been fully playable and everything's accessible and it's in the best condition ever. It doesn't mean that. So kind of bring expectations a little bit down on that part. But that's what he means by play testing. And then I think definitely it's going to move consoles like crazy, especially for Xbox. You got to look at it like this. And Fuzzy definitely nailed it, where price is going to make a big difference here. You got to look at it. So let's see. You want to play Call of Duty on PlayStation now. PlayStation 5 is what is it? Like 500 bucks,
Yeah.
550, I think.
I can get. I'll look. You know what? Let me get the exact pricing.
Yeah. With let's say it's $500 with tax. Now you're looking at about 560, 570. Now you have to pay for an essential plus. Essential PlayStation Plus. That's another 70. So now you're at 640. Now you have to buy the game. That's going to be an additional $70.
So here,
now,
let me add some context to it. All right,
okay.
if you want the PlayStation 5 Slim currently, right now, $499, $500.
There we go.
If you go to find where you can find, like Walmart has the PS5 disc version with Spider-Man 2 for $450.
Okay.
That is the cheapest that you have that I have found. It is $450. I'm looking at sites at GameStop, Walmart, Dell, PC Richard, Best Buy, Walmart, all of the big box stores. The cheapest is $450.
So let's use that price then. Let's use $450. So they buy into the PlayStation ecosystem at $450. You have to buy the essential. The bare minimum of PS Plus is $70. So that ends up being $630. Or no, $620. Now you have to buy the game, which is $680. So there you go. Now you get to play Call of Duty on PlayStation. Let's go to Xbox now. Xbox Series S will probably be able to still play it at 4K, more than likely 60. I can't see them going below 60 on the S.
No, you can play Call of Duty right now. Any of the Call of Duties at 120 frames on the Series S. Yeah.
So bare minimum will have at least 60, maybe 120 for what, $200 on the S? Now,
$200, yeah.
Game Pass subscription, $17. So now you're at $217. Done. You get to play Call of Duty. So 640, 217. I'm not, I can't speak for everybody. Yeah, I can't speak for everybody, but I know if I was looking to invest in next gen, where I'm going to go. So I think price is going to be a big deal, especially with Xbox. They're going to bundle this like crazy. Xbox already knows their consoles sell at a loss. They have been for a while. That's not new. Most consoles do anyways for the lifetime. So they're going to be content with selling this at a loss to get people into the Xbox ecosystem, the Game Pass ecosystem, and to get Call of Duty on next-gen consoles on the Xbox system. That's going to be their goal. So I think that, people are like, oh, 5-1, 5-1. Might want to pull that back. That's a crispy bomb receipt, like we were talking about, where these people are saying 5-1,
Crispy's
5-1,
listening and smiling from ear to ear with that one. There you go.
And that ratio is going to change significantly as we move forward. So we'll see. But yeah, I think price is going to be a big factor coming up, especially if anyone can get people to buy into next gen. It's going to be Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Call of Duty may not have the. I can't really even say that. I was gonna say the glow as it did when it was on the 360 and the PS3, but I still think it does. I mean, I have the numbers in front of me just for shits and giggles. Last year, and this is according to Matt Piscatella, and I love Matt. Matt's a good dude. Here are the top 10 best-selling games of November of 2023. What was number one? The worst reviewed Call of Duty of all times, folks. I think, didn't IGN give it a 3, right? A 3 out of 10? Well, it was the number one selling game in November. But let's talk about 2023 as a whole. It was the second best-selling game in the entire populace of games sold in 2023 at number 2. It was edged out by Hogwarts Legacy. And just for context, How many copies? Over 20 million copies sold. I
And
mean,
Hogwarts Legacy was out from February versus that coming out in October, November.
think about that. Yes. Yes, and yes. That's another big part of it. It came out in November and still moved 20 million copies in 2 months. Think about that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So I really think there's going to be a significant amount of people moved. And that's the thing. Oh, Boom, you're not going to throw away the digital library. No one is asking them to. But if again, and I do want to bring Elijah into the conversation. Elijah, I'm going to paint this picture for you. We keep hearing that the digital library you can't throw away. And I'm not suggesting that anyone should. But if we're talking about the casual gamer, we're talking about the gamer that buys 2 and 3 games a year, and that's it. They buy a Call of Duty. They might buy a Battlefield. They might buy a Madden. They might buy a 2K whatever, 2K basketball, WWE 2K, whatever. What's interesting is all of those titles that the casual audience uses and plays and purchases are in Xbox Game Pass right now. So it's a one-stop shopping on top of everything. Now, I think that this is going to be a very special Call of Duty for the simple fact that it's Treyarch. They have become, in my opinion, the tip of the spear when it comes to development of Call of Duty. And for me, as a fan, I like Black Ops a lot. And I think a lot of people do. Let's get your hot take on what the developer had to say and whether or not this being in Game Pass and price, could that turn the tide for Xbox at the end of the year?
Well, first off, hearing that it's been in development for 4 years is crazy. Like that's awesome to hear as a Call of Duty fan. We've been crying about how the last couple of Call of Duties have been rushed or had a shorter development time, and now we're gonna finally see what they can do if they got a lot more time. And you better believe that there'll be PlayStation people who switch to Xbox because of this, the casuals especially. But I'm not saying that they'll get rid of their PlayStation or their library, but they'll definitely get an Xbox in addition to what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because the value's there, and once the consumer finds out about Game Pass and they market it well, it's over.
I agree. But let's get your. Let's dig a little deeper here. Now you just mentioned that there are not going to be people that are going to abandon their PlayStation 5s. And I'm okay with that, but I think that there is a part of the conversation that I want to get your hot take on. Last week there was an article that confirmed more than half of current PlayStation users are on PS4 or PS4 Pro. That's old hardware. That's old hardware that doesn't run as good as it used to. We are talking about a console that launched in 2013. Now, I'm not suggesting that they've had the console for damn near 11 years. What I'm saying is that maybe they got into gaming in 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2020. And they normally don't upgrade their consoles because they're casuals. They sit down, they play every now and again. And when a new Call of Duty, they'll play with their friends and they go. But this is where the trick, so to speak, might actually happen. If this turns out to be a next gen only Call of Duty, which I honestly believe it is, there's going to be an oh shit moment for these gamers on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. because now they're going to have to upgrade because they're going to want to play Call of Duty. They're playing on PS4s. If they switch to an Xbox Series S for $200, there's no doubt that the Series S is running Call of Duty better looking and better playing and better running on the Series S, which is next-gen hardware, versus old hardware from 2013. So not only are they going to get an upgrade in hardware, they're going to be able to upgrade it for the cheapest potential price at $200. And again, I don't know the future. I'm suggesting that if Microsoft is smart, they drop it to $200 because we saw it last year, guys, for as low as $229. And we're now a year removed later. If you want to move consoles, you want to move Call of Duty purchases, if you want to move subs, you take a little bit of more of a loss. And who's to say they'll be taking more of a loss because now the chips are cheaper. What are your thoughts on that, Elijah?
Well, they can even like go to eBay and get an Xbox One for like $100 and stream Call of Duty if they wanted to. So
yep.
They have so many ways to play your games. It's a no-brainer that they'll switch eventually.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Listen, let's welcome in, folks. We are breaking some numbers here today. We're only 31 minutes into the show, and we have nearly 950 live viewers. Now, where are those viewers coming from? Because I know you always get pushback. You know, on YouTube it says this. Yeah, but listen, viewers are viewers, right? Engagement is engagement, and I'm not chasing numbers. I just like to say, because remember, we started out where we couldn't get 10 people to listen to the show, and 6 years later, well, here we are. We have almost 1,000. We have 500 people on YouTube, which is awesome, and 450 plus people watching on Twitter. That's pretty dope. I didn't even know that was a thing. So welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Hopefully you're already out from work. You have a nice 4-day weekend ahead of you. And well, you stop by here to hear us talk about these incredible topics. But what I want to do, gentlemen, is I want to move on to the next one. And this is, I want to talk a little bit about Hellblade as a game, because I haven't heard, I mean, you've heard my opinion. In fact, I did a review. Sorry, I have to self-promote here. If you missed my review, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's 10 minutes and 19 seconds. It is one of my proudest things I've done in a very long time, because I normally don't do reviews. I took it super serious. If you want to hear my thoughts, there are no spoilers either in the content and video shown or anything that I say that's going to ruin it for you. I specifically wrote it that way so I didn't take any big moments away from you as a gamer. It got pretty good engagement, so I'm very happy about how many people, and more importantly, a lot of people said nice things, which is always nice. You can check that out on the channel. But Fuzzy, I'm going to go to you first, because I have not had a chance to talk to you specifically about Hellblade 2, your experience. What are your thoughts? I don't care so much about the scores. I'm not talking about the scores. We know where those scores are coming from. They're disingenuous, a lot of them. And you know what? Before I even get to it, before I get to you, let me just catch up on super chats, because there's been quite a few of them. We have here Sith Lord, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "Boom, thanks for your service and keeping New York safe." Oh, brother, that's very kind of you. Yes, I served during during Desert Storm in the United States Navy, and I also was a police officer in New York City for 21 years. I appreciate the very kind words and, of course, the generosity and support, Sith Lord. We have here Simon Brandy. Good morning, Simon. Thanks so much for being here. He drops very generous £5 super chat and says, "Metro gave Hellblade 2 a 5 out of 10 and continued the petty hate campaign. Why do Xbox give codes to these sites? It's time for Xbox to blacklist biased media." Yeah, you know what, dude? I agree. I've been banging that drum. I said, you know what? If you're not going to be fair, if you're just not going to be fair, you're not getting a code. But that's just not who they are, man. They give codes to everyone, even if they throw water in their face. I wouldn't do that, but that's why I don't work for Microsoft and marketing, because I would send a lot of these people to Hades. That's just me, but you know, it's fine. Bold Alpha Wolf. Hey, brother, thanks so much for being here, as you always are. And thank you for the outstanding support. He has been a channel member, ladies and gentlemen, for 6 long months. And he says the closed beta for 33 Immortals by Thunder Lotus starts today at 1 p.m. Not too late to sign up. Yes, I am signed up. I just got my email, and I can't wait to play that game. I think that is going to be a smash hit with the community. Game Pass Gumbo, I think we know them. They dropped a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Have a great show." Well, thank you very kindly for that. And we definitely appreciate the support. Fuzzy, let's talk Hellblade. I want to get your hot takes on the game, what you think. Talking about the game versus the original. This is a sequel to 2017's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And I want to get your hot take on the fact that we know Ninja Theory is being closed down. Their next project has been greenlit. We don't know what it is. What we do know is that it's the project that's been greenlit is not Project Mara, because that's already in development, and it's not Hellblade 3. It is going to be something new. What do you want to see them do?
Well, I'll start with my take on Hellblade 2. Played it, completed it like 2 days ago, or like the launch day or whatever. And as like prior to it, I recently revisited so I can get all the collectibles and things like that for Hellblade 1. And I would say Hellblade 2 is an improvement in every single fashion over the original. Now, the thing I'm torn about is which story is better. Now, there are key points of Hellblade 2 that I love far more than I like Hellblade 1. But I think the overall story pulls at the heartstrings a little bit more than Hellblade 2 does, at least to me. But overall, I think there are 3 specific segments of Hellblade 2 that are everything that we've asked for from a combat standpoint or an improvement thereof. I know some people want it where it's like a RPG and want crafting and armor and different weapons and such. And I hear you on that. But for a game where I think they wanted to keep it more grounded in reality, even though, yes, there's some fantastical stuff that goes on in that. And, fantasy is kind of mixed in there. But if you look at it from the standpoint of from Hellblade 1 to Hellblade 2, I think the combat improved greatly. Now, I did it on dynamic, which the timing, I think if you put it on like the easier as opposed, because dynamic will base on how you play or whatever.
Yes.
But I think if you do the easier setting, it will allow you to do the parrying much like you could in 1 a little bit easier. And I think if you put it on like a harder setting, it winds up making it where the parrying is, I wouldn't say near impossible, but they don't follow the exact same timed pattern, but they do follow the same pattern. So it makes the feeling I got before, like with Hellblade 1, it was all about, I don't want to die. I don't want the death creeping up my arm and all that stuff. Even though, you didn't have to worry about the save delete or anything like that. But I know a lot of people that may not have known that, until playing through a good bit, that was a thing or that wasn't a thing. So there was some tension in each combat scenario that you were in, especially when they could surround you and get behind you and stuff like that. And you got the voices telling you, look out and stuff. Yeah. But in this one, I think they wanted to make every fight feel like it could be your last. Like they wanted, or at least the impression I got was that they wanted each battle to feel like you're just barely scraping by kind of thing. Like you get some digs on the enemy and then they, knock you down, or one of their buddies comes after you cut their throat. One of their buddies comes in with a shield and knocks you over kind of thing. So they definitely wanted to make it feel like you were fighting for your life kind of thing. And I think that was a nice change and overall, atmosphere push as far as in comparison. And I like that aspect. Like there are 3 key segments of where that really shines. And to me, that was the biggest takeaway from that game, aside from the graphics. Like, truth be told, this is, and I know there are people who be like, well, there have been games that look great all along. And like, no, clearly this is the best looking game to date. Like back in the day, it was, what was it? Crisis. Oh, can your computer run Crisis? And, a lot of us from the early Xbox One days know how good Rise looked. Yes, it was 900p, but it still looks great to this day.
Yeah.
this makes that game almost look like pixel art. No, I'm being a little facetious, so it
No, but
still looks great.
We see what you're doing with it. Yeah, absolutely.
But this is like a whole nother level, whole nother league. Like you see the winces in their face when you slice them. You see the anger in their face when they're ready to like wall up and whack you upside the head. The fact that you can see the emotion in the main character or Senua's face, or even the side character's faces in all types of different scenarios, is a big step up. The environment, the lighting, the atmosphere, every one of these things is a big step forward. And I would say the true next gen look that we've all kind of been hungry for since the launch of this console. So my takeaway, and I'll give it a score. I give it a 9. I gave the previous one an 8.5. The only complaint, and it's not a complaint against the game, and I'll explain why I didn't give it a 10, because I want to leave room for 3. I want to see room of where, not spoiling anything, but I want to see where Senua is in the next installment, which might be, sometime down the road. But this is a solid 9. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the other one I love to death, even when it was just a PlayStation exclusive, bought it again when it came to Xbox, and then wound up finishing it on PC even. But all in all, this game, I would say, is clearly a ode to the fans of the original Hellblade, and showing all of the technical prowess that Ninja Theory has, and what they've learned over the years, from mocap to just the storytelling to the deep dives into mental illness to some extent, and in things that are subjects that a lot of people stay away from as far as for gaming or even conversation for that matter. So the fact that they tackled all of that was an amazing feat in and of itself. But I really love this game. Like I said, leaving room for not giving it a perfect 10 just because I want to leave room for 3, but this was definitely a standout for the year. Is it my game of the year? It is definitely leading Dragon's Dogma a bit, but Dragon's Dogma has so much more to it. But then again, I've stopped playing Dragon's Dogma because it seems like that game that will never end, because I'm not doing all the side. Well, I'm doing all the side stuff and not the main stuff. But overall, considering the time I've spent with Hellblade 2, I would say it was clear, concise, and to the point. Yes, there is some exploration as far as the collectibles and things like that, which is great. But it is well paced, in my opinion. Yes, it is a walking sim. The original was a walking sim. There are plenty of walking sims out there, but in that walking aspect, the visuals, the environment, the storytelling, or the lore that you come across in certain things, all of that is well paced, in my opinion. But like I was going to say, my only complaint is actually not against the game. It's because of the controller, because I use my Elite Series 2 controller, and I didn't button map a what do you call them? A screen cap thing. Now I know I can hit the Xbox button and hit Y for picks, but it's a little bit different, than if you could do it in game. And that's the only thing it's probably a me problem, because I need to re-button map the screen, or the screen share button, whatever. But aside from that, everything I enjoyed. I definitely love the combat over the original, love the visuals over the original, the fact that there are additional characters, and I'm not going to spoil anything on those characters, but just overall, everything involved was kudos to Ninja Theory on improving in every way over the original. And I love the game. It was a solid game, and I encourage more people to try it. Now, as far as what Ninja Theory could be working on next, I know there was somebody in the community that made mention of this before about Project Mara, where maybe Project Mara is whoever Senua is like this fictional character in somebody's mind, and this other person in current times is at their psychologist and talking to them, and then the whole Senua saga story is basically their either their dreams or what they visualize, or somehow they're that's another personality or something that they experience. So I'm curious to see what Project Mara winds up being. But as far as what their next game is being greenlit and not being a Hellblade 3, and it not being Project Mara, I'm curious to see what they do. Like I had said before, and I know a lot of people didn't really care for Bleeding Edge. I say to this day, even some of those characters that they created for that should be in like a Killer Instinct game, or if they made it where it was more of like a 1v1, like melee combat type of game. Almost not saying make a Street Fighter or a Killer Instinct clone kind of thing, but either have those characters in Killer Instinct or make something along those lines. Because there were a couple of key characters. There, I forget the names. The guy with the guitar and the guy with the katana. Those two definitely need to be in Killer Instinct at some point. But whatever their next game might be, I'm curious to see. Like it would be great if they visit some of their old IP. If they own I don't think they own Heavenly Sword or something like that. But
I'm pretty sure Sony has the rights, the IP rights for that.
Yeah, but I would say given how well they've made Senua and that story around her, I would say just let them make a new IP. Let them make something totally new, and it doesn't necessarily have to deal with mental illness or anything along those lines. Make a horror game. Make something that's a gritty combat game that's not like an arena shooter kind of deal. I say give them creative freedom to make a new IP, and I would love to see what it is, because if they can make something like Hellblade, and sure people play, well, they made Bleeding Edge. Well, that I think it was more so the type of game as opposed to the characters themselves. But I think making something a new IP that would probably be the best thing to let them do, because I would love to see what that winds up being.
I agree. For me personally, in regards to what their new project is, I want it to be, and again, I take nothing away from what they're trying to do with mental illness awareness. That is so important. You have no idea. I would like to see them tackle a game similar in size and scope, their own game, their own heroes, their own villains, like Devil May Cry. I'd like to see them make an action game like that. I really would. I think that they have the talent. I think that if it's going to be Unreal Engine 5, we would see things more open-ended. Like Senua is what it is. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice was what it was. Hellblade 2 comes out, Senua Saga. It's leaps and bounds better in every way possible. There is no denying that. And if we are being fair, we're not being bots or we're not being trolls. You're reviewing the game for the game. And you say, okay, we have to compare this from 2017 to 2024. Did they do better? Yes, in every way. Combat's better. Puzzles are better. Graphics are off the chart. Sounds are off the chart. They delivered. 80 people made that game. It deserves a 9. I gave it a 10. I found nothing wrong with it. You know what's also very interesting that no one has even discussed, Korkenstein, is that this game releases with 0 bugs. No crashes, no freezes, no nothing. You did not hear anyone, not one person, complain about bugs, but yet no one is talking about that. Let's get your hot take on this. Their next project has been greenlit. That's great to know. IGN, if you're listening, and I know that you are, because why miss this show? Don't worry, the studio isn't being closed. They're okay. They're going to be okay, Ryan McCaffrey. They're going to be okay. I want to get your hot take on the game itself, your thoughts, and what you want their next project to be.
Yes. So with Hellblade 2, I'm enjoying it. I'm savoring every little moment. I'm not rushing through this. This isn't a game that, you see all the bad reviews. They always, you can complete this game in 5 hours. You can complete this game in 6 hours. They're tanking the scores because of that. And it's like, that's a you problem. That's not the game problem. The game's supposed to be, it's a narrative adventure. Take your time with it, savor it, explore where you want to play, take your time on engrossing yourself and immersing yourself into the story. That's what it's there for. It's like these people, they go, that are reviewing it and taking the score because of the low playtime. It's like they're going to a movie theater and telling the projector to fast forward to the end. It's like, why even go to the movie theater then? Why even play? So it's that kind of just mentality, I think, that people are knocking the game for, that they're just playing it wrong. And I think, the guys over at Xbox Era did an amazing review of it, and they really, I think, played the game for what the game was. And that's what I really like about the reviews is they don't knock the game for what it isn't. They, they play the game for what it was and appreciate the game for what it is. So I think more reviewers should do that. As far as my playthrough, I'm loving it. I'm halfway through, I would say, maybe like 75% through. Probably I'll knock it out today before I go to work after the podcast, but absolutely loving it. As far as their next game, one of the hosts on Game Pass Gumbo, Goldshell, he said the same thing. He'd like them to see go back maybe to Devil May Cry, kind of go back to that kind of thing. What I would like with their narrative storytelling, and with especially the Devil May Cry experience, what about like maybe a Souls-like game? I'm not a big fan of Souls-likes, but I can see them making a very great narrative with Souls-like gameplay. What about, one thing I've always wanted to see, especially after playing Elden Ring, is a take on Camelot. The Knights of the Round Table are out of control.
That would be dope, dude. I like that.
A Souls-like where the Knights of the Round Table are out of control and you are the new hero coming in to take them out. And those are the epic Souls-like boss fights you see where, you're fighting the Knights of the Round Table and your last boss fight is King Arthur for Excalibur. So, like something like that.
Someone hire this man, please hire this man right now. Let's go.
Merlin's tired of, Arthur, exploiting his power and he's helping you. That's where your magic comes in. It just writes itself when you start looking at it that way. So, but who knows? Project Mara's also a Buddhist demonic god in, in mythology. So maybe, that terrifies people and instills fear. To get them, to temptation, things like that. So if anybody can pull off something amazing, it's going to be Ninja Theory. And just to your point too, IGN, they're not going to close down. Ninja Theory offers so much more than just games. They can be an amazing support studio. Look what they did. They're experts now with Coalition on the level of using Unreal Engine 5. Their narrative story building. You can take these people out of making games, instill them into other teams to help them build theirs. So there's value besides just a studio that can only make games. Xbox has so many studios now that games coming isn't going to be an issue. But if you can take teams out that aren't currently working on something to help another team to boost them up, why not? So, that kind of aspect right there. But yeah, I think whatever Ninja Theory is going to do, they're going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I listen. If you go based on the work that was presented to us, you have to ask yourself, could it actually get any better? Like, honestly, that is just crazy. But listen, Elijah, let's bring you in on the conversation. Have you played Hellblade 2? How far have you gotten? What are your thoughts? And more importantly, what do you personally want to see Ninja Theory tackle next?
Yeah, I started playing and I'm on chapter 6 right now. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I didn't think I would because it's not my typical type of game, my genre, but I'm loving it. And as for the next game, I was going to say a horror game, but that Souls-like game sounds pretty good too. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen, Souls, whether it be a Souls game, I know a lot of people, I'm not a Souls guy. I've never been. I don't know why and how I enjoyed Elden Ring as much as I did. I beat every boss in the game except for that last MF, which I cannot beat. I've tried so many times, it's ridiculous. And it's fine. It's okay. I loved every second of Elden Ring, even though when I was getting my ass handed to me, I went back and I don't feel the same feeling for like just a straight up Souls game. I don't know what it is about that particular game. I don't know. Souls is really, I don't want to say that Ninja Theory's games are niche. They're not. They are amazing games. I'd like to see them expand on some of the action stuff that they've done in the past. DMC, a lot of people didn't like. I absolutely freaking loved it. There's the one. Why can't I think of the name with the Monkey King? What is the name of that game? They did that before. That was phenomenal. That was a phenomenal game, which you can play backwards compatible. And obviously the game that they did that was back in the days on the PlayStation 3, groundbreaking graphics. That was Heavenly Sword. I'd like to see them do something a little bit bigger. I guess maybe that's the best way I can put it. But listen, there's no doubt that this is a masterclass achievement on every level possible. And like I said, this is not coming from a fanboy. I give criticism properly when it's deserved. This was mostly reviewed pretty well, but there were a lot of really poor, disingenuous reviews that were reviewing the Microsoft Corporation and layoffs and studio closures and not actually reviewing the game. And that is ultimately sad. But, again, listen to your favorite reviewer. If you like what they're putting down, great. If you don't, push back on it as you should. But you know who to listen to and who to put on the Pay No Mind list, as you should as a gamer and consumer. Don't listen to the falsities of people that are using hate clicks and rage clicks to get you to sub and like their channel, because ultimately that's what they're trying to do. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, as they say. But look, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where I got to get the chat involved. And of course, I got to catch up on super chats before we get to the next topic. But this particular topic is one that comes to us in the form of an article that was written by Jez Corden of Windows Central. And he says basically as the title for the article, what to expect from the Xbox Game Showcase in 2024, a roadmap for the future, and big questions answered, but will you like the answers? Now, even though I know where he's going with this, that's not what I want to do for this particular topic. I want to have fun with this, right? You're supposed to have fun in gaming. That's what it's all about. And I want to I want to keep the conversation fun. So, chat, these are the rules. Okay? And I won't read it I won't read your response unless you follow the rules. The rules to this topic are simple. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And what do you want to be at the Xbox Showcase? Now, what that means ultimately is you get one pick per, meaning that your hope, what do you hope is going to be there? What is your dream game that's going to be there? And what do you want to be there? One game for each of the categories, and that's it. If you do more than that, like, hey, there's an A and there's a B, I'm not going to read it because you're not following the rules. I have a lot of A's and B's, but I had to follow the rules because I have hopes, dreams, and wants. I'm going to give you mine on the back end. But Fuzzy Belvedere, I want to start first with you. What are your hopes, your dreams, and your wants for the Xbox Game Showcase? Now, you can give us a whole spiel, but ultimately you're going to have to give us 3 games.
Okay. I'll start off with my hopes being they're going to be pretty simple because I'm pretty sure Perfect Dark was going to be there, and I kind of want to see more of that. So that's some of my hopes. So I'm hoping they show some gameplay of it, where it stands, and maybe a release date or at least a release window. That would be awesome because I know they're going to show a lot of the stuff that's coming on the back end of the year and stuff that's going to be the beginning of the year. My dream one, this one's going to sound weird because it's not really a first party tie-in, but it does have some history with the Xbox, brand, and that would be much like they showed Outlaws last year on their stage before the Ubisoft showcase. I really want to see Splinter Cell, or at least the 3 green dots for the goggles to show up on a screen, or at least hear that sound type of thing. for a new Splinter Cell, because I know there's been one in the works for the last 15 years that's kind of been shelved and unshelved and shelved again, and then I think this last one is in the green again. So we'll see if that makes an appearance, and fingers crossed it does. And Ubisoft and Microsoft have a pretty good relationship, especially considering the whole cloud deal. Why wouldn't they, do like they did last year with showing Outlaws on the stage by showing, Splinter Cell the day before their showcase, on Xbox's stage. Now, as far as what I really want, and like I've said before, I don't think it's coming out this year or next year. I think it is more of a 2026 title. Really want Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Horizon 6 to be in Japan and to show, mountaintop drifting, the switchbacks on some of those roads, cherry blossoms, the neon lights in the city, highway racing, street racing. Like, actually, one key thing that I know Forza is, or at least Horizon's more of a festival type of deal. I want them to add a little bit more of the street racing aspect, because I don't know if people remember, there was a real midnight club in Japan, and I want them to have kind of like the call out to that and have that as a staple in the game. It doesn't have to be, mandatory or anything like that, but have it where there's progression in that, where you make your way up, the ranks of the midnight club. You start off with, a somewhat decent car, and you keep on building it up based on your race wins and things like that. I would love to see something like that in this next one. But, if they have a sizable map in Japan, next gen only, all the bells and whistles, as far as, remember what the visuals were like when they first showed, Forza Horizon 5, turn it up just a little bit, and which I'm pretty sure they can do easily. And, put the Series S and put the Series X through their paces, and make it even, make a few of the PC hardware out there, sweat a bit, run that thing. But turn all the bells and whistles on, make it so it shows all the glory of like what people remember from Fast and Furious. Was it the second one, the drift one? Have a little bit of that flavor in it. Have Midnight Club Racing in it. Have the normal traditional, Forza, festival, aspect to it, and add a few more touches, whether it's more character created stuff or, and I know people are like, well, that's not part of the racing, but I would still like to have an expansion on the house where, much like you have in Motorsport, where you could show multiple of your cars on display, possibly add that in there as well.
Yes.
Possibly add more of a social aspect. Like they've had racing clubs, or like the groups and the clubs are supposedly like intertwined on Xbox, but they don't really make that great of use of them. Have it where you can have your own logos imported into the game. Have it where, not saying copy Drive Club, because, Forza had it with Horizon 2, but have it where some of the club stuff gains you points and unlocks and things like that, whether it's new cars earned, or have it where you can be, your club versus another club, in the sense of, racing for some of the multiplayer or online stuff, or even if you're an offline only player, but you're a part of that club, you're racing through the seasonal lists or the weekly updates and things like that, contributes to that club, score base or renown, or however you want to say it, things that they would be able to use for, more unlocks, whether it's a clubhouse or a club track or things along those lines. Like, really go all in on making this not necessarily the live service game to end all live service games, but make it so that it improves or steps up even further, especially when you have competition coming out. Not the greatest competition, but it's still competition, where you have Motorfest from Ubisoft, and you have the driver, the Solar Crown coming out hopefully later this year as well, where they're going to have a lot of that
in the works too, right? So
yeah. So have it where you basically remain the king or at the top of the arcade racer, and beat a lot of those other ones to the punch of, instead of having them copy you, take a little bit of their stuff and improve on it, plus keep your stuff, not necessarily the way it is, but improve on it and even further, and just be that top dog that they've been for probably the past 10 years when it comes to an arcade racer.
I like the picks, man. I do like the picks a lot. Listen, Korkenstein, let's bring you in to the conversation. What are your personal your wants, your dreams, and your hopes for the Xbox showcase?
Hope for sure. Perfect Dark. I think we hopefully
Great
get
pick.
something seeing there. I mean, it's kind of been talked about for a long time, and I think I'm hoping now we get to see some gameplay. It's not just some CGI trailer. Xbox lately, as their showcases, they've been really good at getting gameplay out and moving away from just CGI. And showing some stuff a little bit more. So I'm hoping for that. Want Gears of War 6. Let's do it. Come on, it's time.
Let's talking.
Let's bring the series back. It's 6. We need Gears back, and I think now. Well, I don't think we'll get it in like next year. 2025. I think what they'll do is probably do the Gears of War collection. Remaster kind of thing, and get people back invested into the storyline of Gears. And then once those are out, and once people they got that hype built, they'll get 6 out. Dreams, Fuzzy mentioned it. Splinter Cell. I really want Splinter Cell to be there. I'm like 70% sure it will be. It's time. They've been working with Michael Ironside since 2017, I believe it was the case, where he went in, they saw somebody doing VO work, or he went in and he mentioned doing VO work for it. It's been a long time coming for, I can even see the trailer in my head if I can go down this route real quick,
Yeah, sure.
So,
by all means, go on.
Yeah. So, it starts, fade to open, and you see this top-down view of this desk. There's a newspaper on the table that's like, world at war, nukes coming, something, wherever they're going to be stationed at. It starts, as that's going on, it's panning out. You hear somebody on the TV store or the radio, we got enemies coming in, boom, 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 things like that. And it's slowly panning up in its faces. And you're in this like kind of like a war room, kind of concrete bunker kind of thing with, tables and computers and, mainframes, things like that. And it starts to just slowly start to pan out. You're seeing guys run around. You're hearing explosive stuff in the back. And then all of a sudden the lights go out. And then you just hear the and then you see the 3 lights pop on, and then it's just chaos. You're seeing people shooting, you're hearing bodies getting thrown into stuff, tables breaking, and as the fires are going off, you're seeing this grizzled, old Sam Fisher, just moving around, and all these shots are going off, and then the lights pop back on, and it's just chaos. You see some dude's head through a computer monitor. You see bullets holes everywhere. Things are on fire, and then slowly but surely, this light at the top is just swinging, and then it stops, and then it pops out, and it goes back to black. Splinter Cell 2025. See more at the Ubi gameplay, Ubisoft Direct tomorrow, that kind of thing. So
I think you should be directing film, sir. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, it's like that just gives me goosebumps. Just the fact, I think all they need, they could probably just, put something where it's just, a black screen, and then, you hear the sound and the 3 dots and people will lose their mind. Yeah. But like, I think something like that would be pretty awesome to see. And then, so that's my hopes, hope we see Perfect Dark. We need Gear 6. Let's do it. And then Dream Splinter Cell, new Splinter Cell.
I love the picks, brother. Absolutely love the picks, and love the direction that the conversation went, because you should be directing film for sure, or writing for you be in the writer's room of something for sure. Elijah, let's bring you into the conversation, sir. What are your current hopes, dreams, and wants for the Xbox showcase, which is happening June 9th?
My hope, it was Splinter Cell, of course. You have to have those green lights, the goggles, and everything. My dreams was Wolfenstein 3.
Okay, that's a good one.
I really hope to have some of that in there. The action is always good. And I wanted to see more Fable gameplay, to be honest. Just like
that's what you want, right?
Yeah, that's my want.
They're all good picks, to be honest with you. I don't think you can go wrong. I think that we have been waiting for a long time for a Wolfenstein 3 that does not involve his daughters, because that last game was terrible. But yes, we would love to see him come back in a big way. I think you're onto something with Fable. Yes, we did get a couple of gameplay snippets that people did not believe were gameplay. I think it's going to be. I think you're onto something. Honestly, I'd love to see a segment. Now, does it need to be 10 minutes long? No, it doesn't. But I'd like to see the world being used in a way where we're going to play in that world. What does that look like? What does some of the magic look like? Let's see more of the fighting that we know it's actual gameplay. Yeah, I like all three picks. And I think every one of them, I think everyone has knocked it out of the park personally. So let me get to my hope. For me personally, I hope that the Gears of War, the Marcus Phoenix collection in Unreal Engine 5 is real. For a lot of reasons. I mean, I can right now go back and play Gears 1, 2, and 3 through backwards compatibility, and it's up-resed. But I would love for anyone who is not as old as I am, that weren't around for Gears 1, 2, and 3 on the Xbox 360, to enjoy and play what is, in my opinion, one of the greatest trilogies in gaming as a whole. If the rumors of this being done in Unreal Engine 5 and the potential to get some cutting room floor stuff added to it, like they did with the original when they remade Gears 1, with all that extra footage that was on PC that never was on the Xbox 360 that we got during the Xbox One generation, if you can equate some of the cutting room floor stuff that I heard up behind the scenes for Gears 2 and 3, that would be unbelievable. My dreams, folks, I'm a nerd. And I am one of the few, and at least I can admit that Paris Lily is a part of my crew, or I'm a part of Paris's crew. We are Banjo Bros, and I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I'm going to say it. And if I get the virtual tomatoes thrown at me, so be it. I'm a platform guy. I have been for years. And for me, gaming really changed when I put on Mario 64 for the first time. And I was like we have officially arrived. When anyone that is as old as I am remembers going from the GameCube. I mean, going from the Super NES to the N64, going from a flat drawn, which was great, Super Mario World, which by far is like tip of the spear when it comes to Mario games, and you put on the N64 for the first time, and you were able to pull at Mario's cheeks. Remember that? You used to be able to pull his hat. And you're like, "Why? I can't believe I'm doing this. This is crazy." Well, it's time for Banjo-Kazooie, which obviously were tip of the spear back in those days. You had the Donkey Kong games, you had the Mario 64, but both Banjo games on the 64 were just amazing. I'm not asking for a sequel. I'm for a Banjo 3, if you will. I'll take it at the bare minimum. Give me a Resident Evil 2 remake Love and Care version of Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm golden. That is my dreams. Is it going to happen? Well, probably not. But I'm still going to dream nonetheless. As for the want, you know what I want to see there? I want all of the controversy behind the initiative and Crystal Dynamics be put to bed. I want to see Perfect Dark running, because this is a game that had a ridiculous amount of really big names attached to it when the initiative was founded. Obviously, too many chefs in the kitchen ruin the broth, as we all know, and that is what started happening with the development. Crystal Dynamics is by far a studio that has talent at oozing at every pore. And I cannot wait to see what they will do with this IP. And again, there's we can only go based on the last time we saw Joanna Dark was during the Xbox 360 launch game, right? What, 2006? So it's been a minute. So I would love to see that be there and put all of the reporting that we saw from Grub and a few other ones about, oh, this game's in trouble, this game's a mess. Put it to rest. Let's see Joanna doing her thing, using gadgets. Let's see what engine they're using. Let's see this game show up. I don't need a release date. Take care of the game. When it's ready, you release it. But I want to see that game to put a lot of the fears, a lot of the concerns to bed. That's just me. Those are my hopes, dreams, and wants. And again, just for fun, right? It's just a fun topic. Now, obviously, we're at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark. We still have a little bit left of the show. I do want to bring up a topic that Korkenstein. I keep changing your name, so I'm going to keep it as Korkenstein.
Yeah, that's fine.
In the private chat, that's very interesting. But before I get to that specifically, I definitely want to catch up on the super chats. Been quite a few of them. So we have here JJ Sayin 117 drops a very generous $5 super chat. And they say, what you have said so far shows the potential Xbox has, especially in Latin America, which is big there with Call of Duty. But to be honest, Microsoft needs to get their act together. And yes, they absolutely do. They need to understand that outside of Europe, outside of Japan, which they do terrible in, and outside of America, guess what? There are people like in Latin America that really like Xbox, and you need to put a bigger effort into that region or those regions for sure. That's a great super chat, brother. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. We have Abzel, or ABLEZ 2009. I butchered your name. I apologize. Ablas, I think that's how it is, drops a very generous £2 super chat. It says, Hellblade 2 is nothing short of spectacular. Indeed it is. Like I said, if you're going to tell me that this game is a 45 out of 100, you have now been put on the Pain of Mind list. You're not being you're being incredibly disingenuous with your review. And I'm sorry. I saw some other people give it 4. No names here because we don't do names. I think they're wrong. I really do. But that's just my opinion. We have JMac, generous friend and good friend of the program, drops an outstanding $5 super chat. It says next gen starts when games like Call of Duty, GTA, Madden, FIFA are all current gen only. Only. Yeah, that's a. I mean, it's a strong point, dude. He says Xbox World Order is fully operational. Hashtag gray beards, which I have a bit of a gray beard. I have to shave. It's terrible. Abzel 2009 drops an additional £2 super chat. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the additional generosity. They say Hellblade 2 is the first true next generation game, without a doubt. Like the generation makes 4 years this November for both PlayStation 5 and for Xbox X and S. There is no doubt that Hellblade is, in fact, the first real to life next generation game. That's without a doubt. Maxi Coleman, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Maxi goes on to say Microsoft should buy the Devil May Cry license from Capcom and give it to Ninja Theory again. We will have our own exclusive Devil May Cry. I mean, Capcom is doing so well, they don't have to sell anything. That would be dope, but I would like to see them. You know what? Honestly, that's a dope idea, but I really want to see what they're cooking. Like, what new IP are they cooking? And I'm sure it's going to be dope. So I'd like to see them do that. We have Gamers Play HUD Zero, who's been our channel member for a ridiculous 31 months. Brother, thank you so much for the incredible support. He says, boom, just completed Hellblade 2 this morning. This is more than a game. It's an experience. 8.5 out of 10. Hashtag there is no power greater than X. Hashtag Xbox World Order. Perfect Dark next. Indeed, I want to see Perfect Dark in a big way. Highlander 001. What's going on, Highlander? Hopefully you and the fam are well. He drops very generous $5 super chat and goes on to say, there is only one game I want, and it's State of Decay 3. I mean, it's supposed to be an Unreal Engine 5, my friends, and I loved playing State of Decay 2. Yeah, I put about 60 hours into State of Decay 2. Played it mostly single player, but just doing my own thing. I hope it's there. I hope we get a chance to see what it looks like in Unreal Engine 5, but I'm going to say this. You've heard me say this before, folks. Me personally, I want a single player campaign in that game. Does anything that Microsoft does really well is offer a single player campaign with their games as well as being multiplayer. They could do both. I'd love to see a don't kill me, don't kill the messenger. I'd like to see a Days Gone level single player come to State of Decay 3. That's what I would like. Am I going to get it? Well, we're going to probably find out because I really believe it's going to be there. Tim the Sorcerer drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, fun show, and I like the new panel and chat. Well, thank you so much, brother. Super appreciate the kind words, Tim, and thank you for the generosity. And speaking of generosity, we have Silent Cypher, who is a panel member, P.S., by the way, every other week when he can get here and he's not working. He has gifted 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. Brother, that's crazy generous of you. Thank you so much for that. So, what is the fourth and final topic, ladies and gentlemen? Well, this one is awesome. And I'm excited from a personal level because I'm going to be in LA from the 6th through the 10th. I'm going to be at the Xbox showcase. That's right. I got the invite. I can't believe it. I literally fell out of my chair that they recognized the channel, and I'm going. So I'm super excited for that. But thanks to Insider Gaming, this was written and produced and posted by Tom Henderson himself. We have learned, ladies and gentlemen, and this is very exciting for a lot of reasons. I'm going to break down why that is. Avowed and Indiana Jones previews are coming after the Xbox showcase. Oh, freaking K. And I'm going to tell you why that's exciting. Because we were all kind of like wondering whether or not we would get Indiana Jones. Would we get Avowed in 2024? Because, listen, development, right? Sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes awry. Fuzzy, according to the article by Tom, it says Avowed and Indiana Jones previews will be shown on June 10th, one day after the Xbox game showcase. Insider Gaming has learned that both Avowed and the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be playable to select media outlets and content creators at this year's Summer Games Fest. Holy shit. Are you kidding me? According to those familiar with the plans, both games are expected to be shown at this year's Xbox showcase. Is anyone else in the room getting goosebumps? Because, yep, I'm a part of that crew. It goes on to say, with previews from the hands-on going live on June 10th. Bro, I'm excited. Let's talk about it, Fuzzy.
I'm excited, but on the flip side of things, I'm waiting to see what the nuanced digs that some of these outlets might take, because much like we see with Hellblade 2, there are some critics out there that are stepping over their own self, trying to make sure that they have the worst possible critiques on the game that they said that they loved the first version of. So I'm curious to see if that motion sickness complaint that some people were making as far as Indiana Jones, it still sticks. Like, hopefully they for all of those, like, this is one of those times I wish Xbox could be petty and hand out doggy bags to those particular individuals if they're there to do the play testing. Be like, oh, because of motion sickness, here's your doggy bag, type of thing.
I
That
would
way you
personally
can
hand them a bag with dog poo in it, but that's just me. That's just me.
No, but outside of that, it is awesome that they're going to have this play test, because that should tell, or at least have it where they can have a demo for the the gaming media and stuff like that, because that means it's fairly close, or it's to the point where polishing is probably the last phase that they really have to go through and button up a few things before it's released later this year. The great thing is that it seems like everything is still on track. So, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Xbox has to get consistent. They need to do every quarter. And well, we just had Hellblade drop, and more than likely we're going to have Avowed and Indiana Jones drop in the remaining quarters for the year. So it seems like they're ready now. And a lot of these games are actually ready beforehand, to the point where they're going to, allow the media to get hands on, and hopefully, they'll be honest and not have their blue glasses on saying, oh, well, I don't know, this is, is Xbox going to be okay after this game releases? Like, instead of focusing on the actual game kind of thing. But I'm happy that it's that kind of close where we're going to get to see it as the fans at the showcase, and we're going to have deeper dives after, which we've always kind of, nudged Xbox to say, hey, don't necessarily have all the devs do like a 30-minute breakdown during the showcase. Like, we want to see game after game after game after game. But for those that do want to see the breakdowns on a particular game, hey, have that at like an after show showcase kind of thing. And I think this is probably the best opportunity, and to get feedback from at least some of those in the gaming media that we trust, because there are some that do give honest feedback that don't seem biased or don't seem like they're worried about Xbox all of a sudden in its future, when there's plenty of stuff in the pipeline for them to be successful moving forward. So it's a great step at this point. Is just, I always wonder, like, I kind of thought maybe the gaming media is growing up and they'll not have the bias glasses on when it came to Hellblade 2, but it seemed like it's because it's not on their platform. Like, some of them went out of their way to purposely make it so it wasn't going to score higher than the previous one, or barely score higher than the previous one. So, okay. But the fact that it's playable, I think for all of those that were a little worried about Avowed, like, and I was kind of one where it was like, no, maybe that will slip to 2026. I think that might not be an issue anymore, especially considering that they have, have it at a playable showcase afterwards for the media. So it's a good feeling knowing that they're on track, and the flood's about to start, or the flood has already started. But for those that may not recognize it, the flood is starting. So yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Korkenstein. Listen, Fuzz is on something. I don't think that these games would be playable if they weren't going to be ready for the later half of 2024. We saw in January a really good chunk of each one of these games. So this is telling me that they are ready to rock and roll. The fact that not only will the media get hands-on, but some people, they said content creators, I'm hoping it's us, gets their hands-on on these games. And rest assured, I'm going to be doing a lot of shorts from LA that you can check out on the YouTube channel. Is this good news for you as a gamer?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, if they're already bringing, who knows if it'll be ready for people at FanFest. Sometimes I've been to FanFest, they have booths there with some games ready to play. Usually it's a lot of ID at Xbox or previous games like Minecraft, Flight Sim. If they'll have an event where people can go up and play, that's even better, because that's showing, hey, these guys are ready to go almost, It may not be, right there next month. It may not be, 2 or 3 months from now. Could be, holiday season. But I mean, at least just showing that there's progress. They're proud of what they have, and they're ready to show it. So, on a playable level. So I think it's definitely great news for most gamers. What we'll see, who knows? with the Disney title like Indiana Jones, it's kind of hard to give that Xbox tax because now you're taxing Disney and nobody wants to piss off the mouse. So who knows if people will tax indie as hard as maybe they might other games, but I think it's going to be really awesome. Let's see. I hope you get to play it. If you do, Boom, oh man, I would love to hear your preview of it. But yeah, I think it's a great thing for gamers.
Yeah, listen, it's how could you not get excited about an Indiana Jones? Maybe, again, I'm old and I understand that he is more important to me than many people, but you cannot deny that preview that we saw in January looked dope AF. And I'm here for it. And you know what? I'm also a massive Obsidian fan. I've been since way back in the days. And obviously, we're getting Avowed. It's a new IP. It is not Skyrim, ladies and gentlemen. It is Avowed. I'm looking forward to that. And the fact that I'm going to potentially, I don't know for sure, but based on what Tom is reporting, I might actually get a chance to get hands-on. I don't know what I'll be able to say because I would imagine I'll be able to give a preview opinion because if the press can do it, well, we can do it as well. You can expect all of that right here at Double Barrel Gaming. But listen, Elijah, let's bring you in on the conversation. Again, this is a bonus story. I'm very excited. Avowed Indiana Jones previews confirmed for the 10th of June, which is the day after the showcase. There's going to be hands-on playable demos. I'm excited. What are your thoughts, man? Where is your excitement level for these two particular games?
Oh, I'm very excited if they're already having hands-on playtests for the public. Like that seems like they're really confident in the product they have. And sounds good to me, hopefully.
Are you excited for both of these? I mean, individually, are you excited for each?
Yeah,
both
I
Indiana
love
Jones
Indiana
and Avowed?
Jones. Yeah, I love Indiana Jones, and I love machine games. So that's like the perfect match for me. And Avowed, I love RPGs too. So I'm interested in that, and I'm really excited for both, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree. I think you knocked it out of the park. The fact that they're confident shows these games would not be playable if they were not confident that people are gonna enjoy what they're playing and that the game potentially will be ready by the end of the year. Let me catch up on these last couple of super chats that popped in here, folks, and then we'll get ready to do outros. Again, we did 4 topics. I have an engagement I'm going that I cannot miss. Obviously, Tyler, I know you're listening, little man. I'm going to be picking you up in a little bit. He's going to hang out with us for the entire weekend, so it's going to be Nintendo Switch all weekend long, and I'm very excited for that because whenever I hang out with Tyler, well, he's my life. So, Sir X-Men drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, and this is great picks. He says a new Mechasort. Man, that would be freaking awesome. I'll add a little old school caveat. I would love to see a remake or a continuation of Crimson Skies. Like that would be a dope game to bring back from the dead. The original one still plays. It looks really good on the Xbox Series X, and it's backwards compatible. Love the first one. Would love to see that come back. And he also goes on to say he would love a Project Gotham Racing. Dude, that would be amazing. Wouldn't it be pretty dope if there was a third racing team where you had Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon, and Project Gotham? Dude, that would be dope. I like that.
Yeah.
Silent Cypher drops an additional very generous $5 super chat. He gets a little snazzy here. He says, I'm motion sick from all of the constant goalpost moving and opinion whiplash that those silly little ponies have been putting out on the interwebs. I mean, you're not wrong, dude. And Gamers Play HUD Zero drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says some media sites will say it'll be on PS5. Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's going to be I'm actually going to be at the IGN event. Yes, I know, the IGN live event, but I'm going to be there to see and witness the interview with Phil Spencer and Ryan McCaffrey. I am very interested to see what both Ryan is going to ask. I hope he does his homework. I hope he is not a troll, because lately, like I used to be a fan of him. I'm not anymore. I got nothing negative to say about the guy. Like, I'm not going to insult him. He is who we thought he was. But I'm interested to see how he's going to handle himself. Is he going to use class and integrity? Well, that is to be determined. We will see. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this week's episode of course, Breakfast with Boom. A big thank you to, well, we had almost 1,400 live viewers here, and which is unbelievable. We have 850 live viewers from Twitter. Holy shit, that is bonkers. So I ask this, while you're still here, while you're still listening, and there's 850 plus of you on Twitter, if you're not already subscribed, press the button. Go press on the screen right now, and it's going to take you to YouTube. And if you're feeling incredibly kind and generous, you're going to do two things. You can hit the subscribe button, which would be dope, because we're on the hunt for 15K. And then you can hit the thumbs up button. But if you're feeling so outrageously generous that no one can beat you today, you consider sharing this on social media and hitting the bell icon so you know every time I go live, which I do Monday through Friday. 5 different shows, 5 different panels, all great content. But you know what we don't do? We don't hate monger. We don't use clickbait to get you in to sub the channel, hit the like button, and listen. We talk about what we talk about. All the topics are well researched and well read on the air, and everyone has great opinions. And we never shut anyone down for having an opinion that's different from anybody on the panel. So, with that said, Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, let's sell your brand. Where could people find you on social media, but more importantly, find your YouTube channel, which is the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre?
Well, as always, thank you for having me on Boom. It was such a pleasure to be on here with you guys. Always love hearing Corkenstein's thoughts. And well, welcome to podcasting on Boom Show, Elijah. It was great hearing your thoughts on things, and always love hearing your takes, Boom, as well. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Love interacting with you guys. Love a lot of your thoughts on games you'd like to see at the showcase. Like State of Decay is another one that I'm really looking forward to. And once again, Unreal Engine 5. So we're going to be eating good with games that look, photorealistic for some time to come, especially with Gear 6 not too far down the road as well. But for those who want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, now X, at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on several other podcasts. Like later tonight, you'll find me on Xbox Ultimate at 10 p.m. on Fun Speculations channel. Now, going to the drive-in with the wife tomorrow, so I won't be on the Shop podcast, but definitely check those guys out on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, do a search for PTK Blam's YouTube channel. And then Sunday will be Pixelated Echoes with me and 3-Bit, going over a lot of like recent topics and things like that. New podcast, just do a search for Pixelated Echo on YouTube. And then hope to see you guys right back here Monday afternoon. Wait, are we doing a show Monday afternoon?
No, we're actually not. I'm going to get to that in a second. No
Okay.
Show on Monday. It's obviously Memorial Day. We want to give the panel off. Mrs. Boom is off from work, but I'll reiterate that in a second. But yeah, thanks so much for mentioning it, because I actually probably would have forgotten.
Well, enjoy the weekend, everyone. Be safe. Enjoy gaming. There's plenty to play. Have at it. So see you next week.
Good stuff. Real quick, Silent Cypher adds an additional very generous $2 super chat, and he says, "Scroll tap Ryan and Damon for me, Boom." Yeah, Damon. I used to like that dude. Man, he is so California. It's just disappointing. Just disappointing to say the least. It's fine. It's fine. Corkenstein, let's sell your brand, brother. Where could people subscribe to your YouTube channel? What shows do you have there where people can tune in each and every week? And where can people find you, kind sir, on social media?
Yeah, the easiest place to find me on social media is at the Corkenstein on Twitter. I have 2 podcasts right now. One's kind of in hiatus, but we got some really cool stuff coming up for Xbox Talks, where we might start doing previews for games with developers. We're kind of in mid talks of that. We just did a massive overhaul, and we moved Xbox Series X subreddit and the Xbox One subreddit into one over to our Xbox. So guys, go join in there. We've consolidated everything. You guys have a unified community now on Reddit for Xbox. And then the last is Game Pass Gumbo on YouTube. With Xbox Talks, we're looking to get maybe hopefully crossing that 500. We're about 13, 14 away. And then next would be 1,000. Game Pass Gumbo just got started off the ground about 3 weeks ago. We're looking to maybe talk about Call of Duty coming up, maybe after the showcase. And since they have my co-hosts Gold and Token, they have previous service history. I'm going to eat an MRE live on nice. On Gamecast Gumbo.
You're not going to like it, I can assure you, but yes.
Yes, since we're about food and gaming, we're going to talk about Call of Duty and then food in the military. So, all about that. We do have live gameplay of Hellblade 2 that Token did, so check that out as well. That's it for me. Thank you. A pleasure as always, Fuzzy. I love hearing your takes. Elijah, good to meet you. And as always, Boom, it's a pleasure to be on here. You guys, your community is seriously awesome. You see me laughing all the time and smiling. It's because I'm reading your community's chat.
This chat is probably the best in the business. Like I was saying before, one of the best communities ever. They're very welcoming. They send the trolls to Hades, and you can thank Lethal Papa for that. That dude is he walks silently and carries a very big band stick, which is what I love about him. So shout out to you, Lethal, for always being here. Last and no way least, Elijah, thanks so much for joining us today. Enjoyed your takes. Please, by all means, where could people find you on social media, and what else you got going on?
Oh, thanks for having me, Boone. Again, you can find me on Twitter and YouTube with my name, Elijah Vasquez.
Nice.
And on Xbox, my name is I'm Space Velzy, and you can find me there. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be on Korkenstein's podcast as well.
Nice. Well, good stuff. Listen, everyone's information is going to be there for you to click on, including the Jez Corden article, which I suggest you read, especially if you're excited for the June 9th show. He has a lot of really good takes there, as he always does, not only while he's doing his own thing on Windows Central, but when he's one half of course, the Xbox 2 with Randall Thor 19. That's going to do it for us here on Breakfast at Boom. Please, folks, just remember, there is not going to be a show, the Xbox lunch break special this Monday. We're going to take hiatus one day. We're going to enjoy the long weekend. I have, obviously, Tyler coming to stay with us, so he's going to spend time with us. And Mrs. Boom and I kind of just let our hair down, as the kids like to say, and kind of just take a day off. We don't normally do, because we do produce 5 shows per week, but everyone's going to be off, and we like to kind of just recharge our batteries, as it were. So again, no show Monday, but we'll be back on the new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesday. I'm already started working on that show, if you could believe it. And we'll close out the show with a big thank you to all of the super chats, all of the new channel members, and of course, a big thank you for the continued support. And again, we can't do anything without the support of the community, and you guys and gals have knocked it out of the park each and every time we do a live stream. So we are incredibly humbled and grateful for that support. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And we'd say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.